Hi, my name is Rubai and welcome to my presentation for PYPx. I like seeing memes on Instagram. Out of all these 17 goals, I chose SDG 12, Responsible Consumption and Production. In this presentation, I will talk about my research and action. My central idea is responsible consumption and production will help society deal with climate change and will lead to a sustainable environment. Did you know that over a year enough plastic bottles are thrown away to go around the planet 4 times? Many of us throw things out unnecessarily. We don't think about the way it affects our communities and natural ecosystems. I chose SDG 12 Responsible Consumption and Production because I was sad to read about whales washing up on the shore after eating plastic. I wanted to look into the consequences created by everyday industries that provide us with things we need, like clothing and food, not luxury industries like gold or gems. Prepare to be amazed by my research. Okay, which industries produce the most pollution? For my first line of inquiry, I focused on farm. The questions here are the questions I had. Which industries pollute the most? How do those industries pollute? And what are some suggestions on what they can do? Um, Imagine a world that's dominated by garbage. Garbage that takes centuries to decompose, like plastic and styrofoam. A world in which people die of contagious diseases caused by unsanitary conditions. This might be the case in a not so distant future because of everyday industries that don't take the future into consideration. Industries like energy, transport, and manufacturing, which are the three biggest polluters per year. I always wanted to know how industries pollute and always thought it would be very complicated. But when I started researching, I realized that it is an easy to understand topic. It makes me think about how all kinds of things are interconnected and slightly depend on each other. It taught me about the variety of ways that seemingly sustainable industries cause a lot of devastation. And I feel as if it has given me a better understanding of the climate related challenges the world faces. Here are the industries that pollute the world. Okay, so this is per year. Yeah. Anyway. Energy supply and use is of fundamental importance to society. However, energy production and consumption in all sectors of the economy affects the environment. The energy industry directly causes air pollution, climate change, water pollution, and habitat loss. The transport sector is known as one of the sectors with the highest environmental impacts. Aspects linked to transport include atmospheric and noise pollution, land take, resource use, and the effects of waste disposal. The largest impacts come from fuel used by transport, but the effects from development and construction of infrastructure and vehicles, as well as waste disposal, and as well as waste from their disposal add to the environmental cost of transport. Construction pollution is mainly the pollution on the sites of construction and demolition by various construction activities. Dust pollution on construction sites is a very common and dominating phenomena. Different kinds of dust are present in huge amounts at a construction site. Dust piles are often at sites from which the wind carries them, and they travel to other parts of the city or state, increasing pollution in other areas also. The, con- the construction industry also causes water pollution because some of their toxic waste also goes into water bodies. Agriculture. Agriculture is the world's largest industry. Over 1 billion people work for it, and it generates over $1.3 trillion dollars worth of food per year. Agriculture is the leading source of pollution in many countries. Pesticides, fertilizers, and other toxic plant chemicals can poison freshwater, marine ecosystems, air, and soil. They can also remain in the environment for generations. Agricultural expansion is also a major driver of deforestation and other ecological destruction, decimating habitats and biodiversity. Pollution occurs through the food retail supply chain, from inputs such as fertilizers to the extraction of materials farm, such as through farming and fishing, processing and packaging, distribution and retailing, consumption and disposal. Plastic bags are another major cause for concern. UK grocery businesses are highly dependent on single use plastic. Plastic waste leaches hazardous chemicals into the soil or is blown into rivers and oceans. Plastic, which makes up for 80% of all marine debris, is lethal to marine life. The fashion industry is an important part of our economy. Its
You
value
want to wear this clothes?
its value is more than 2.5 trillion USD, and it employs over 75 million people worldwide. After the Second World War, the development of synthetic Synthetic textiles such as polyester and nylon have transformed the fashion industry. From only a few thousand tons of waste in 1940, global consumption of synthetic fibers rose to more than 60 million tons in 2018. The sector is also an important source of plastic leakage into the environment, with between 200,000 and 500,000 tons of microplastic from textiles entering the marine environment each year. The textile industry amounts for 35% of microplastic pollution in the ocean. Technology. The tech industry consumes a lot of valuable non renewable resources, such as gold, which is utilized in the production of technology, and coal, which is burned to generate electricity. Additionally, the manufacturing processes of technology can lead to water contamination, further depleting this precious resource. Here's a short story on nuclear waste by me. Okay. What is nuclear waste? Nuclear waste is a byproduct from that comes from fuel processing plants, nuclear reactors, hospitals, and research facilities. There are three types of nuclear waste. Low-level nuclear waste. 90% of waste is low-level nuclear waste, which is basically fuels, clouds, or trash used at a nuclear facility, which could be weakly radioactivated. This is safe for normal disposal. Intermediate level waste. 7% is intermediate level waste. Mostly materials that have been in close proximity to a reactor core to have become dangerously radioactive. With proper handling, it's either safely buried or melted down and mixed into glass and concrete and stored underground. Okay, 97% of nuclear waste is like waste from other industries. It's not good, but it's not really that harmful. It can be handled. High level nuclear waste. 3% is high level waste. This is fuel taken out of a reactor core. This is, this is what governments should be concerned about. Formerly uranium, it is now made of several dangerous and often radioactive elements. This is extremely hot and not easy to handle. Around 11,000 tons of high level nuclear waste is created per year. Most countries are dealing with it by not dealing with it, and they take short term action. Conclusion: I think nuclear waste is a very interesting topic to look into. Learning about the types of waste was my favorite part, and I worked really hard on the decorations. Okay, what should industries do? Sorry. Industries can be more sustainable by modifying product design, regulating the proper sourcing of raw materials, and waste disposal. They can also change infrastructure layouts and take proper measures during packaging and transport. Here's my second line of inquiry. How does responsible waste management work? Key concept: function. The questions I had were: what is responsible waste management, and how is waste management now? Okay, almost everyone thinks that recycling is very effective and widespread, but did you know that only 9% of the waste ever created since the 1950s has been recycled? This waste is plastic. Recycling has not been successfully implemented. In fact, it has become more of an advertising technique used by large businesses. There is so much waste that by 2050 there will be more plastic by weight than fish. Many people still believe that we might be able to save the planet and avoid the biodiversity crisis, but only with proper waste management. I wanted to learn about waste management and now and how to improve it. I learned that waste management systems are pretty advanced and use all kinds of methods like composting, which turns organic waste into fertilizers, and waste to energy, which is a conversion of non-recyclable waste to heat, electricity, and other types of energy. By learning about these methods, I thought that the recycling corporations are doing an excellent job. But I was still curious to learn about ways to improve their system and make recycling more efficient and convenient. I found ideas suggesting us to set zero waste goals for towns. When the goals are achieved, the towns can get benefits like economic benefits or even other kinds. How is waste management now? Modern waste management strategies focus on sustainability. Other options for waste management are to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Also known as physical reprocessing, recycling is ideal for the disposal of inorganic waste such as plastic, glass, and metals. Composting is a very sustainable waste disposal method as it converts organic waste into nutrient-rich fertilizer. Waste to energy, on the other hand, is the conversion of non-recyclable waste into heat, electricity, or fuel using renewable energy sources. Plasma gasification turns garbage into reusable byproducts by using a combination of electricity and high temperatures without the use of fire. How can we improve the waste management system? We can establish wide waste collection and disposal. By establishing citywide waste collection and disposal, you can stop waste from ending up in forests, seas, and other natural ecosystems. Because you can hire people to pick waste before it can cause harm. Industries can work with a small waste picking organization to think of a strategy to support it and improve working conditions for waste pickers. Reducing food waste not only affects responsible consumption and production, it also relates to zero hunger. Industries should determine the amount of food waste generated in a city and research on the waste characteristics so they can think of a way to either donate it if it hasn't expired or they could give it to animals if the food is appropriate. Composting is also a really good method. There are many ways to boost recycling. Governments can use different techniques, which include advertising, which can make recycling seem cool and throwing trash away seem redundant. They can also enforce measures like pay as you throw, which is a kind of tax for trash. One of the easiest ways to reduce waste generation is to donate your things instead of throwing them, unless your used items are in bad condition. You can also ask governments to repurpose old buildings instead of demolishing them. Governments can include ambitious food and organic waste reduction goals within the wider zero waste goal and give towns benefits if their sustainability goals are achieved. With the implementation of these ideas, governments can make recycling a daily practice rather than an inconvenient task. What encourages responsible consumption and production? For my third line of inquiry, I focus on connection, perspective, and responsibility. Okay, so, well, yeah, most people support the idea of recycling and want to make the planet a better place, but how many people really take action? Feeling passionate about the environmental crisis isn't always enough. People have to help in some way or the other, either in direct ways like organizing a beach cleanup, or an indirect way, which could ask people to donate money or clothes or even other stuff. So, yeah. People can help in all kinds of ways. But we can all agree that recycling is one of the most common and helpful ways. Recycling plastic takes 88% less energy than making it from raw materials. Even though recycling is recognized as one of the easiest ways to help, it hasn't really been implemented enough. I always wondered why people hesitate to recycle and realized that people found it inconvenient and sometimes lacked trust in recycling corporations. The issue is similar when it comes to reusable packaging. It's either inconvenient or just costs a lot more. According to some research, in Western Europe, about 30% of people would seek reusable packaging if it was less expensive. I realized that reducing prices just a little bit might be able to convince people to change their habits for a sustainable world. What do people think? Globally, 64% of people feel personally responsible for acting on climate change, but many said recycling was either inconvenient or they lacked trust in recycling programs. A lack of programs and services is also a huge barrier to sustainable consumption introduction. More people would seek out reusable packaging if it was less expensive. This attitude peaked at 32% in Western Europe, compared to South Asia, East Asia, and the Pacific, where just 14% of people respectively supported this view. How's recycling connected to the environment? Recycling helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions by reducing energy consumption. Using recycled materials to make new products reduces the need for new materials. This avoids greenhouse gas emissions, which would result from extracting or mining new materials. Manufacturing products from recycled materials typically requires less energy than making it from new materials. Anyway, what can you do to make an impact? Find a recycling charity to donate money to. Buy secondhand or recycled products. Make a list of items in your fridge so you don't buy extra. Be, con- be conscious of packaging. Do some research and only buy from companies you trust. Buy products that won't expire soon. Here's my action. I wanted to inspire change in the world. My idea, I taught the kindergartners. For my PYPx action, I organized a learning session in which the kindergartners could learn. In the learning session, the kindergartners learned about ways that different industries um, pollute the world, and I also hosted a few activities and games. The kindergartners made posters which show that they're passionate about responsible consumption and production. And I think that this is direct action. I think that this is direct action because I am personally going there to teach them. To, to promote my action, I made a poster with Shakira that informs parents about the learning session and encourages them to come and assist their children. This poster is outside the cafeteria with the other grade 5 posters, 5th grade posters. Shakira and I also made a form that asked parents if they would like to participate in our learning session. Making the presentation for the kindergartners was one of my biggest challenges because I had to paraphrase a lot of information to make sure that they understood everything. I also wanted to make sure that I didn't speak too much because I wanted to keep them interested at all times. But in the end, I think I had enough information and had fun activities. After I taught the kindergartners, they made two posters about recycling and also played a lot of games. In the end, in the end, we had a puppet show and asked the kids questions regarding what they have learned from the sideshow and discussion time. I would like to thank Miss Liz and the kindergartners for their support. how I planned my actions. So here are the steps I took, and I improved my social and communication skills because I had to interact a lot with the kindergartners. I also improved my management skills because I had to plan my course of action. Step 1, I made a presentation. I don't have many pictures of myself making a presentation, but here are a few pictures of my slides. Shakira and I spent around 5 to 7 days to make a presentation for the kindergartners. So here are my slides. After that, I presented to the kindergartners. Shakira and I went to Miss Lewis's class and taught the kindergartners about recycling and the industries that cause the most pollution. We also asked them about what they have learned, and they had discussion time. So here are their pictures. After we taught the kindergartners, we made posters on what we have learned from the presentation. They worked in groups of 5, and Shakira and I helped them. Pictures. After that, we were playing turtle versus plastic. When the kindergartners finished making their posters, they played a game called Turtle versus Plastic, which is basically fox versus rabbit. Here are their pictures. Host a puppet show. We played Turtle versus Plastic for 15 minutes, and then we hosted a puppet show, which was about the importance of recycling and safeguarding nature. After that, we let the kindergartners host a puppet show in which they presented their own version of the story. Here are their pictures. If I had 4 more weeks, I could have taught my classes, and maybe I could have made a survey asking people about their feelings towards recycling and how they think that waste management can be improved. Okay, do you have any questions? You can ask me after this is over. Okay, so here are my sources. Okay, so you can scan this to look at my sources. Thank you.